Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second ever episode of CGTV. It's our Wednesday evening live stream together. And because we've got the Cheerfully Funded campaign going on, what we're doing at the minute is interviewing some of the different people who have created an entry for that to chat a bit more about their businesses, their creativity, their inspiration. And later on tonight, in the next few minutes, we're going to be hearing from Rob and Naomi from Frog and Gnome, who have been part of the Cheerfully Given community for quite a number of years now. And it's a chat about their nature journal and the book that they have created for you guys to vote on. So we're going to chat about that a little bit later. And what I wanted to do to start with is give you a sneak peek at this year's Creative Christianity Summit. So quite a few people who are either watching this live or watching the replay are people who've been involved in our Creative Christianity Summit in past years as well. And we're back again for our digital event, our fourth event, and we are going to be joined by Paul Blackham again, which he's a firm fan and comes back talks and things at all of our but Paul and I are having a lot of chats over the last year about how senses work as Christians. You know, how do we think about sight and our hearing and our smell and our taste, and so Paul has created a series of sessions that look at that, especially because we often appreciate creativity through our senses. So what's for us to smell and taste and touch, and what does the Bible teach us about those things as well? That's super exciting. I'm very much looking forward to those. And Lou and Nathan Fellingham are also going to be back to lead us with worship. So each day we're going to have a 30-minute session also with them, some time for prayer and song worship. And it's great to have them back. Loads of people enjoyed last year to kick off each day. We've also got a session with Laurent Collective back again every year, and they're going to be looking at how we see the God in creation and then create from that place of inspiration. And we've got Liz Mosley joining us, who is one of the Cheerful Business mentors, but she is an amazing graphic designer and has a really cool podcast called Building Your Brand. So some of you might listen to that already. Liz is going to be doing a session, doing a bit of a talk about design, and then she's also doing a workshop on how to create patterns. So if you love cooking or painting, or even if you think of yourself as like a painter or anything, creating repeat patterns is surprisingly easy. So she's going to share both analog and digital ways to do it, and that will be a fun one for us all to try it together. So these are just some of the highlights that we've got so far. There's quite a few and different sessions and workshops, and I will share more details with you next week as well. We start in 2 weeks' time for the summer, so 2 weeks to go. This year you can register free to join in, and means is that once you've registered, you have 24 hours to watch sessions from that day, and then if you want to watch them after that, the all access pass is the way to do that. So this year it just means that people can join if they want to, and the reason to do that is because we'll be announcing the people who have gotten the most votes for their products and the winners as but that the whole like idea of competition just still isn't quite the right terminology to explain what Cheerfully Funded, even though obviously we do have people who are going to have products come to market through it. So but we're going to be announcing the or more businesses that have received most publics, and their products will be funded. We'll be doing that on the Saturday night of the summit. So that's a super exciting thing to look forward to as well. It leads me very naturally and nicely into talking to and Naomi. So going to first things first, show you their page and give you a little here we go, link to their Cheerfully Funded page, and hopefully that has come through to the comments okay. My internet is not living its best life. I'm on it at the minute, and Paul Blackham is actually doing the talks at it, so that's why I've got a very big garden going on behind me, and of course this is not about garden, not in East London. So here we go. this is the page for Frog and Gnome. So it's a nature journal and a few previews here, a little bit about Rob and Naomi's story for what has inspired it as well, some sneak peeks at what would be inside. So the link to this page is in the chat at the moment, so you can check underneath the video. But I need to bring Rob and Naomi. I'll put this back up again as we've finished chatting, but I'm welcome Rob and Naomi on live stream now to chat with them about all things Frog and Gnome business, working together as well as they run their business, and what has inspired their story and nature journal. So welcome, Rob and Naomi.
Hello.
Hi,
good
thanks.
to see you.
How are you? And tell us a bit more of.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, my internet the clock is going. So sorry about that. So yeah, just how you tell us more about yourself.
Okay. You start.
Yeah, we're doing well. Unusually, the children have gone to sleep, which is very helpful of them.
Actually, a miracle.
So yeah, with Frog and Gnome, we started Frog and Gnome in 2016.
Yep.
So a little while ago now.
We've just turned 6. Yeah.
And we started out trying to produce kind of products that we wanted to do ourselves. So it was a mixture of just general cards and prints and things, and Christian things, and yeah.
And then COVID hit, like it did for everyone, and we had to adapt. And so we started to bring other small businesses on board. So what's been really cool and fun, actually, it breathed a whole fresh new life into our business, is working with lots of other small creatives and putting together gift boxes and sending things direct. So that's now probably the main part of our business, sending out gift boxes, which is a great pleasure. Yeah.
So some of the gift boxes you'll see from us on Cheerfully Funded include products from other people, like candles and other things. But we still do the same sort of cards and prints we've done all along, and we do ceramics as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What did that sort of product development process look like in terms of the transition as you were launching things, maybe things that you hadn't tried out before? How was that, and how did you make decisions about what to launch next?
I'd like to say we had a strategy and a plan, but it was we were very much thrown into we have to make this work, and so we added companies in gradually. We started off by adding chocolate, which went down so well, and then just started to include sort of bath and body products, salts and stuff. And then Instagram is just the most amazing resource of small businesses, and so we started off with like our friends and like just pulling together, and then just stumble across new people. And now I think we stock probably about 20 different other small businesses, and they're good friends. So it's awesome. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
And in terms of what we produce ourselves, so we started off with just paper goods, and then we just slowly developed in terms of partly what we have ideas to do, but also what we have resources to do. So we moved on to ceramics, partly because we had lots of ideas to do it, but also because we waited for the opportunity to have the budget to be able to invest in different things, and that was a gradual
build.
Yeah.
What are your favourite products out of the Frog and Gnome range? Maybe you've got too many, but do you have particular favourites?
Favourite products.
We've got a few in front of us.
We have a few. We have a selection. One of our favorites is definitely decorations, because they've been really popular. So we have like these Christmas decorations. Oh, I don't know how the camera's working, but
you can see it the right way around. So it might look back to you. We can see it the right way around.
Perfect. Okay, so these have been actually one of our best sellers, and the Christmas decorations sort of evolved into Easter, and now we're working on a range of just things that people like to hang around the house, and just to be able to put verses on decorations and have them on your tree. We found lots of people gifted them, and different Christmas carols. That's probably, the decorations are probably my favorite.
I think this is one of my favorites, which is Living on Grace and Coffee, which is pretty much the story of our everyday life.
Any parents watching, I'm sure, can and also some businesses.
Yeah, definitely.
This is one of my favorites as well. So this is a tin of comfort cards. So they're postcards with each card has a different Bible verse on, and it's to use in a time of comfort. So whether that's grief or just going through a difficult time, and that was really enjoyable. Just the process of working through thematically through the Bible, drawing out what we felt were the best sort of 30 verses for that.
And we paired it with Amy from Orchard Art Glass. She's done a beautiful glass held decoration with the psalm of where your tears are held by God. And that's just been, the comfort box has sold really well. And what's been so lovely is that it's a real, when we're writing the cards, because we send them direct, people send us their messages and we add them to the cards. And we're regularly in tears, like just with either the sadness of a situation or the beauty of the human spirit and how they want to comfort and encourage and build up. And that's really where the heart of our business began, just like spurring each other on and trying to create things that people can send in difficult circumstances. Like, it's lovely to send a really bright, fun card, but it's sometimes the harder things are when you don't know what to say.
Yeah. In terms of messages and things like that, I think that the COVID pandemic made people realize a lot more how easy it is to send songs. So previously, maybe we would think, I've got to go to the shop and buy something and find something, take it to the post office, and it was something that involved like many steps. But actually being able to just log onto a website and type on your heart for somebody and then just send it straight to them has caused so many people, I think, to be able to take initiative for more practical signs of words of encouragement in ways that maybe were a little less accessible before. In terms of day to day, what does creativity look like for you guys day to day? What are some of the creative things that you find yourselves doing in between all of the running?
I lost the end of the question, but
sorry, that's my internet is not having a very good time. Yeah, sorry. So what does creativity look like for you in between doing all the business stuff? What are creative things you find yourselves doing? Frog and also business as well.
Okay, yeah. So I didn't want to go off on like some random tangent thinking. Creatively, well, I do a lot of knitting and crochet and that kind of therapy, I call it. Whereas you do more.
So in terms of when we create things, we talk about it being very much a team effort, and it is. And the ideas might start with one or either of us or both of us together. Quite often, the early stages of development, Naomi does, and quite often the later stages of finishing things off, either drawing or on computers, I do. But
he's the perfectionist, so I just have ideas.
Yeah, Naomi steps in at the end to say, yeah, and it's finished. You need to stop now.
Stop. Yeah.
The perfect dynamo duo right there.
Well, sometimes.
And inspired the idea of a journal in terms of creativity and the sort of concept of this. Maybe tell us a bit more about that.
So what we've how to begin explaining. We've wanted to write for a long time. We love words, we love stories. And so the idea of creating a picture book, particularly for young kids, like our kids at the moment are 5, 7 and 8. And I'm thinking about, yeah, good. That's awful. And we're like right in the thick of those gorgeous stories that you can really get involved with and the conversations that follow. And so playing about with words has always been something that we've done, but another massive family focus for us is being outside and being in nature, exploring. The kids are fascinated by everything that is outdoors, and that's really brought out our inner like connection, I guess, with nature.
And they're very passionate about environmental things as well, which is partly the influence of school, but also they talk about the environment a lot at home. And
kids are just so much more aware with the environmental messages these days, and that's really, really cool. And we just would love to harness that awareness. And when you connect with nature, it's different to just being aware of something and knowing that it happens. But when you actually see, when you visit a place regularly in all seasons, or really look closely at things, that's when it begins to mean something to you. And then in turn, connecting with your creator through that. I think we definitely both feel that we're able to be more free, or be closer to God when we're climbing a hill or out in the fresh air, or just outside, definitely.
Yeah, and certainly we've at times struggled to find Christian books for children that really engage them. So there's some brilliant retelling of Bible stories, but in terms of just children's books that have a cracking story, but that also provoke conversation, there hasn't been a lot that we've come across. And so we felt like doing one ourselves, but also there aren't very many good nature journals for families, full stop, and particularly with a Christian focus.
We love the idea of having a picture book that introduced God. Well, God is so many things, but in this, we're taking God as the idea of God as a gardener, and all the connotations that leads to, having it interspersed with biblical truths, but not heavy, just light touch, so that it can be enjoyed by a wider variety of audience. But then having the nature journal that then takes the kids outside, so it's not just in their imaginations or lovely illustrations in a book, but like that they actually then begin to connect with nature and understand God's calling for us to be carers of it.
And so in terms of the book, is it a separate storybook, or is it storybook and nature book combined? Tell us a bit more about the way that it works when people engage. What's your vision?
So they could be bought separately. The idea is that they're two separate entities, but that they complement each other really well. So
yeah, so the theme of God as a gardener is such a rich theme, and there's so many. The Bible begins in a garden, it ends in a garden, and even in the middle, Jesus is mistaken as a garden. You've got loads of really important, powerful imagery of gardening throughout the Bible, of God's word, the seed, the parable of the sower. Jesus is mistaken as the gardener, and is it a mistake from God's point of view? Jesus is the gardener. He's the second Adam, who comes to restore the Garden of Eden. And so there's a huge richness of Bible teaching there. We're not trying to cram all of that into a children's book. The idea with the children's book is that it's just going to pick up on a few elements of that, and there'll be quite a lot of allusion to different Bible passages within the illustration, and so that will be able to be brought out in conversation potentially. But within the nature journal, a lot more of that will be explored. So the idea of the nature journal is inviting families to explore nature and encounter the Creator through creation on lots of little adventures. And the story is just one example of a conversation, an adventure. A little girl and her grandmother have a little adventure of discovery.
It's just sort of exploring our place in relation to God's creation. And then the nature journal, the idea is it's not like Sunday school, it's not workbooky, it's with like suggested activities. Not everything has like a really heavy undertone or message. We just wanted it to be really accessible, to a variety of ages and situations, I guess.
I mean, honestly, when you had sent it, it was like, this is aimed at kids, but let me tell you, I will be first on the pre-order list because I like being outside. I get sunburned so easily, and like insects bite me. But I was like, do you know what? This would be a great like Saturday for a few weeks, like going and exploring things. So it inspired me to think about places that we could go and explore, and just even seeing that. So really excited to see it. And the if you're interested in some of the sample pages that Rob have created, they're beautiful. The story is really like, it just looks exciting. The characters seem like characters that you just want to read more of as well. So it's such a beautiful, and that of being a Christian Jesus in of life, instead of it being just we get Sunday, the rest of the week like we have to like cram him into things, but we don't, because he's in everything. We see him in everything, and the fact this resource is aimed at encouraging children to see that is really amazing to see. So thank you for sharing a bit more about I'll put the link for the Cheerfully Funded page in the chat again before we wrap up. But yeah, just in terms of Frog and the way that your journey maybe has gone the last 6 years, as your 6th business birthday this year, what have been some of the highlights for you as you've been on this journey?
Well, for me, certainly the friends that we've made. Like, the Cheerfully Given community is such a lovely, warm, uplifting community. It doesn't feel competitive. It's really everyone's wanting to help each other and offer advice, but like no one oversteps the mark. Like, it's a really I hope it's the community you intended to create when you had the idea.
I'm just like feeling really awkward that people might think like staged or something.
We haven't told. No, but it is like some of our best friends we've made through either Cheerfully Given or just Frog and Gnome in a broader sense. And that just connection with people and collaboration, it's like our staff room is kind of made up of people from all over the UK, and that's a real high for me. Rob's not quite as sociable. He's quite happy.
Andrew and I have some dynamics, so relatable.
How about you?
It sounds a bit cheesy, but I think the highlight for me is just the privilege of what we're involved in. So for both Naomi and I, one of the thoughts when we started was hugely significant for us in our own faith journeys, as through teenage years particularly. Older Christian leaders, Christian friends who took the time to write to us, put pen to paper, and just put those words of encouragement or that challenge, or just checked in, and without necessarily mentioning a verse or anything, but just that Christian checking in with us was a huge encouragement. And so receiving post was a massive deal for both of us, I think.
Yeah.
And to be involved in that now, to have a small part of other people encouraging one another, of holding out the words of life to one another, is just amazing, really. And particularly since people have started to do more sending direct, and we have the privilege of seeing the messages that are being sent and writing them out. It's a huge. There are such wonderful encouragers out there, and it's we're hugely encouraged by seeing the way others build each other up.
Yeah, and people just dedicated to, like, at the first 6 weeks of COVID, we had a lady order the same gift box, and she sent it to a different person each week, and it was just like that commitment to building people up. Like, we just don't take it for granted, the fact that people choose to use some of the things that we've put together to send as a boost. Yeah.
What are some of the effective things that you yourself doing that you have thought ahead? You know, when you first start business, you have an idea of like what your days are going to be look. What are maybe some of the unexpected things you found yourselves doing that weren't part original expectation?
I think that we thought the balance with family life would be would be good, because we were both teachers before, and we wanted to be home with the children while they were young. But the work never stops, not just because Rob doesn't ever stop having ideas, like ever. It's also that there's just always something to do, and you're your own boss, which is an awesome privilege. But if you don't work, there's nothing, like no one can make you. So you kind of just, or no one can stop you. So we kind of oscillate between just working too much. And that was a surprise to me. I thought we'd be much better at being quite military about how we did our days. What about you?
I guess there's so when you start out running your own business, you know that there's going to be a lot involved, but I don't think anyone realizes quite how many different things there are to think about and to do, and
the different roles that you have.
Even just the mundane things like fixing a printer that won't work, or solving that IT issue. Like, you can spend half a day doing something really mundane, and then you've got a whole lot to catch up on. But
we love a lot of the elements of it. We love packing, just wrapping things up as gifts. Rob does more of that than me, so he's probably being like, really? But like the photography, Rob was a photographer before, and just having that element to our business, I guess we didn't see how much, like when you're used to taking pictures outside, like for weddings or schools or whatever, actually product photography is really different. And we thought, of course we can do that. We have all the gear, but actually that's been a big learning curve, isn't it?
Yeah, everything's you have to learn new stuff all the time, don't you?
Yeah.
So on that note, what is something creative that you've been learning over the last 12 months or so since well, I'm timing that because I know that we've got people watching the summit who've been doing stuff over the last year since our last summit, so that's why I'm about the last year. But what are maybe some things that you've been learning over the last months that are creative? Naomi, you said you were knitting. Is that a new thing, or is that an ongoing hobby that you've had?
Oh yeah, and that's because I thought your question was, what do you do outside of?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. But I just wondered, I just wanted to circle back and say, I know that you said that you do knitting, but I don't know if that's like a recent thing or, so just to say, yeah.
That's not a recent thing, but But what have we been?
I've been returning to a teenage passion of animation. So we've done a bit of stop motion animation, both for fun and for business and for church, and also drawn animation, which has been fun.
That drawn animation has been quite a different skill or creative exploration. Rob's more of the creative one, so I've been like flower arranging. We've just started doing dried flower boxes and that sort of thing, but I don't know how creative I can call that.
It's one of those things that people ask me, and I'm like, well, I built a website, so is that like creative? Like, it's not really. It's like a bit technical, but like anything that I do that's like creative is more on the like technical side of things. So yeah, I relate to the slightly like not sure how to answer that because it depends on your definition of creativity. I am secretly hoping at some point to be able to get you guys to do some stop motion or animation for Cheerfully Given, but because everything has just been so chaotic with life, it's still on the to-do list. But perhaps we might see some Frog and Gnome animation in Cheerfully Given's future at some point. So yeah. With regards to what you hope for Frog and Gnome moving forward, what would you love to see happen with Frog and Gnome in the future?
Ooh. You're the dreamer. I'm like quite happy. It's all I quite enjoy it as it is. We'd like to write more, definitely.
Yeah. The two things that we haven't done, which we started off dreaming about, were having a physical shop and writing. I think the physical shop is a dream we're happy to let go, although it would be really fun. But we've really held on to the writing, so we're hoping that something can come of this and that we can do more of it, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to help Rob and Naomi make one of their business dreams and goals come true, you can head over to their Cheerfully Funded page and check out their beautiful book, My God is a Gardener. It's a storybook and nature journal duo if you're only joining the live stream now. And you can just pop a little vote in. It takes like 10 seconds to do. And that's going to go a long way towards helping Rob and Naomi get their book published and get it ready for maybe Christmas presents, maybe I can't remember the time frame for it, but when it comes out, that's going to be an amazing way to spend time with the young people in your life, whether they are your godchildren or your nieces and nephews or children. Over and find that, and I'll pop the link in the chat again, but I am going to add it to the live stream and just give you a little reminder of what it looks like, and just see a few of those. Here we go. These illustrations at the bottom that I'd mentioned earlier, you can go on here, you can click onto them and just a little bit more about the project and about just the attention to detail that has gone into this and the vision for it that Rob and Naomi have put together and shared a little bit of in our live stream. So thank you so much, Rob and Naomi, for joining this evening. And yeah, we'll here we go. Shared again in the chat. So not very good at multitasking, but the link is there again, and we will hear from Rob and Naomi again on our Instagram with posts around their project in the week, so you can keep a little eye out for that, and then go over and follow as well. So it's wonderful to have you as part of the Cheerfully Giving community, and so excited to see this sort of next iteration of your creative gifts as well. And yeah, I'll catch up with you soon. Thank you for joining this Wednesday evening. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye. So that's Rob and Naomi from Frog and Gnome, and their project, which as linked, you can go and check out more about that. And if you've got questions, you can pop a message on Instagram to ask them about it, or you can pop us an email and we can pass the question on as well. So you can feel free to do that. So last week, if you joined me for the first episode of CGTV, as we move this into something that is more slick and streamlined than its current iteration, we're going to have some different segments from different people in the Cheerfully Giving community as we move forward, and we're still figuring out what those are going to look like and what those are going to be. For today, I wanted to leave a little thought with you that we had originally talked about on a social media post. I think it was last year, and it was really funny because it's this time for quite a while that we've had people who've said, where's that in the Bible? And we basically were talking about Psalm 45. So there's a little hint to that in the description of the video. But the question that I wanted to leave you with for today, that maybe you can do devotional reflection on, is what will Jesus smell like when he returns? And this feeds in obviously to the fact that this year's summit topic is all about the senses and how we experience creation, but we often think about what the Lord might look like when he returns, and there's a lot of language in Revelation that talks about his eyes are going to be like flame fire, and his robes are going to be light, and we see some of those very physical descriptions of what things are going to look like. I didn't always think about how the Lord is going to smell when he returns, but Psalm 45 gives us a bit of maybe a hint as to what we can expect. So I thought I would read out. It's the NIV version, and then you can spot, I'm just going to read the first half, you can spot the bit where we find out what Jesus will smell like when he returns. So Psalm 45 is a wedding song, and that is looking forward to when the bride of Christ and Jesus are united in that ultimate wedding ceremony. And the verses that we're going to be having a little think about are bear with me 1 second. My internet has just frozen. So we're going to be reading Psalm 45, verse 1 to verse 9. So Psalm 45 is for the director of music to the tune of lilies of the sons of Korah. The sons of Korah are an interesting little study all on their own. Paul Blackham has talked about that a little bit. Who is Korah? What happened to him? How are we reading of the sons of Korah? So that's something, if you enjoy a little bit of a wormhole in the Bible, you can go and check that out. A maskil, a wedding song. My heart is stirred by a noble theme as I recite my verses for the king. My tongue is the pen of a skillful writer. You are the most excellent of men, and your lips have been anointed with grace, since God has blessed you. Gird your sword on your side, you mighty one. Clothe yourself with splendor and majesty. In your majesty ride forth victorious. In the cause of truth, humility, and justice, let your right hand achieve awesome deeds. Let your sharp arrows pierce the heart of the king's enemies. Let the nation fall beneath your feet. Your throne, O God, will last forever and ever. A scepter of justice will be the scepter of your kingdom. You love righteousness and hate wickedness. Therefore, God, your God, has set you above your companions by anointing you with the oil of joy. All your robes are fragrant with myrrh and cassia from palaces adorned with ivory. The music of the strings makes you glad. Daughters of kings are among your honored women. At your right hand, the royal bride in gold of Ophir. So verse 8 there is, all your robes are fragrant with myrrh and aloes and cassia. And cassia is cinnamon, and it's a really potent form of cinnamon. So next time you smell cinnamon, you are getting a little hint as what Jesus is going to like when he returns, along with aloes and myrrh as well. So that's just something that maybe this week you want to spend some time reflecting on. Maybe if you do Bible journaling, you could go through that. So many good visuals there for what it's going to look like when Jesus comes to claim his bride, and we are all going to hang out at the feast. So that's what I'm going to leave you with for this evening. And next week, we're going to be back again with another short interview with somebody who has created a Cheerfully Funded entry, and hear all about the creative inspiration behind that. If you do want to sign up for the summit, then that is for this year. You can do so for free of charge. And I'm going to just pop the link for that in the chat as well. I didn't have it ready to post, but I'm going to put register for the summit here, just so you know what the link is, because it isn't clear on the link. So you can register for that free of charge. There's an all access pass, which gives you lifetime access to the content, and the free pass gives you 24 hours to watch each day's session. So for day one, you'll have 24 hours to watch it, taking you over to day 2, and then on day 2 you'll have 24 hours to watch those. And we've got five or six sessions each day, including some creative workshops, devotional workshops, interviews, and then we've also got the worship sessions with Lou Ethan, and we've got the Bible sessions with Paul as well again. So that's just to give you the heads up on that, and hopefully you can still hear, but my internet has just told me that it's got a low signal. So I will leave it there for today, and I will see you all next week for our next episode of CGTV. So have a great Wednesday, everyone, and don't forget to vote in the Cheerfully Funded competition. You can do that, links in the chat. So God bless, and have an amazing rest of your week.